Let's talk about Bath. You know, the city that's so stunningly beautiful, the entire thing is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. But if you look past that polished, honey-colored stone, you'll find a history packed with secrets, ambition, and some really deep mysteries. So we're going to peel back the layers and find the real Bath. When you picture Bath, this is probably what comes to mind, right? The Royal Crescent. I mean, look at it. It's this breathtaking, perfect arc of limestone, just the absolute peak of Georgian style. It was built to be the ultimate statement, a flawless facade to show the world. But as we're about to find out, facades can be, well, pretty deceiving. And facade is the key word there. It's a carefully built public image. So in this explainer, we're going to peek behind that curtain. Because the real story of Bath is all about what's going on beneath the surface, both literally and figuratively. Okay, so to get to the secrets, we first have to appreciate the grand vision that created this place. Back in the 18th century, Bath was basically the playground for the rich and famous. And these two architects, a father-son team named John Wood the Elder and Younger, they set out to build a city that was every bit as ambitious as the people living in it. And when I say ambitious, I mean their plans were on a cosmic scale. Seriously, they weren't just building streets, they were building massive symbols. On the left, you've got the circus, which was designed to be the sun. And get this, its diameter is almost an exact match for Stonehenge. And its partner, the Royal Crescent on the right, that's the moon. Together, they're like a little universe carved out of stone. And here is our first big secret. It's a concept called Queen Anne fronts and Mary Anne backs. You see, while the fronts of these buildings were legally required to be perfectly uniform and elegant, the backs, well, the backs were a total, chaotic free-for-all. It's the perfect metaphor for the Georgian mindset. Present a perfect, orderly face to the public, and whatever mess is going on behind the scenes, well, that's your business. And they used other really clever tricks to keep up this perfect illusion. The people living in the Royal Crescent, they wanted this gorgeous, uninterrupted view of the countryside, but they really didn't want, cows and sheep wandering onto their perfect lawn. The solution? A ha-ha. It's basically a sunken ditch with a wall, so it creates this invisible barrier. The view stays pristine, and the animals stay put. It just goes to show how even the natural beauty here was carefully engineered. Okay, so we've seen the stage. Now, let's meet the actors who were on it. Because the elegant world of Georgian Bath was a very, very controlled social theater, complete with a strict set of rules and a very powerful director. This was the absolute heart of it all, the Grand Pump Room. Every morning, anyone who was anyone would gather here to drink the city's famous mineral water, which, by the way, was said to taste like warm flat irons. Yum. But they weren't just here for their health, oh no. They were here to see and be seen, to trade gossip and to claw their way up the social ladder. Jane Austen, who actually lived here for 5 years, she saw right through all the polite smiles. She called the city a marriage market, a place of cold, ruthless calculation where you could make or break your entire reputation in a single evening. Every little conversation, every dance, it was all a move in this high-stakes game of status and money. And the man who wrote all the rules? That would be Richard Beau Nash, the undisputed king of Bath. He was the city's master of ceremonies. And he dictated everything, from what you wore to how you danced. He even banned swords from public places. And not for safety. It was to stop gentlemen from fighting duels and disrupting the polite, civilized atmosphere. So the social secrets are one thing, but the city's actual architecture holds its own mysteries. Some of Bath's biggest secrets have been hiding in plain sight for hundreds of years, just embedded in the stone of the city. Let's start with a number. 4. Just 4. That's how many bridges there are in the entire world that have shops built along both sides for their whole length. And Bath is home to one of them. This is Pulteney Bridge. It wasn't just designed to get you across the river, it was designed as a floating shopping street. It's so elegant that you could walk across it and not even realize you're over the River Avon. It's a true architectural marvel. And you see that distinctive stepped weir just below the bridge? Well, it has a modern secret of its own. It's so dramatic looking that Hollywood used it to stand in for the River Seine in the movie musical Les Miserables. Yup, this is the very spot where Inspector Javert takes his final desperate leap. All right, you ready for a much deeper mystery? If you look at Bath from the air, the 3 most famous landmarks, the Circus, the Royal Crescent, and Queen Square, they form a really distinct
key shape. Now, the architect, John Wood, he was a known high-ranking Freemason. So, is it a coincidence? A lot of people think not. They believe it's a massive Masonic symbol, intentionally designed right into the city's layout.
Have you ever heard the phrase paying on the nail? To pay right away? Well, that phrase might have started right here, in Bath's 800-year-old Guildhall Market. Inside, you can still find these stone pillars called nails. Merchants would put their money on top to seal a deal in public. So to pay on the nail meant your deal was done, honest, and out in the open for everyone to see. Now take a really close look at the amazing front of Bath Abbey. The whole thing shows a dream of angels climbing up and down ladders to heaven. But if you look closely, some of those angels are climbing down head first. Was it just a simple mistake by a stonemason or some kind of hidden symbol? Nobody really knows for sure.
So, we've peeled back the Georgian facade, we've looked at the social rules, but now we're going for the biggest secret of all, the very foundation that this entire magnificent city is built on. This is it. This is the whole reason Bath even exists. It's built on Britain's only natural hot springs. Almost 2,000 years ago, the Romans built a whole town called Aquae Sulis right here around this sacred, steaming water. The entire Georgian city that we see today, it's really just the latest layer built on top of this ancient Roman heart. And the timeline here is just staggering. Before the Romans were even here, the Celts worshipped a goddess named Sulis at this spring. Then, long after the Romans left, in 973 AD, the very first king of all England, a man named Edgar, was crowned right here at the Abbey. That coronation set the template for every single British coronation since. This city's entire long history is connected by that one source of hot water bubbling up from the ground. But, life here wasn't always so grand and serene. Archaeologists have found hundreds of these in the spring, Roman curse tablets. People would scratch angry messages onto thin sheets of lead, asking the goddess Sulis Minerva to inflict horrible punishments on people who had stolen their stuff, and it was usually their clothes while they were taking a bath. It's a pretty fascinating and kind of petty look into the everyday problems of Roman life. And the Romans left behind their own puzzles too. This is the Gorgon's head from the centerpiece of their temple. But here's the thing, Gorgons were female. This one has the snakes in its head, but it also has a fierce beard and a mustache. So what is it? A local Celtic god mixed with a Roman myth? Its true identity is still one of Bath's greatest and oldest mysteries. So you see, Bath is so much more than just a pretty city. It's like a storybook written in stone, with each new chapter just built right on top of the last one. It's a city of grand facades, hidden rules, and ancient secrets, all steaming up from that one sacred spring. The real question is, if you go, what story will you uncover?